Hello and welcome to Actionable Ethics, ethics forecast for the upcoming month of July 2023. And this is a reading for Aries. And of course, this is not a natal chart per se, because I don't go by the astronomical bodies in the sky, but it is a Natal chart. By which I mean I don't really go by astrology per se, but I go by personality types. And I do believe that there are 12 basic personality types recognized throughout history in the world, whether in the Chinese zodiac, the Western zodiac, or even in things like the modern disc system. Which stands for dominance, influence, stability, and conscientiousness. And this is an adjunct of psychology. But there are basically four basic personality types, but underneath these are three kind of subsections. And you get 12, just like you get here. And so Aries, in terms of the zodiac, in terms of personality, is traditionally represented by the ram, and it's known for energy, passion, and leadership qualities. Aries has a lot in common with the ESTP and ISTP personalities from the Myers-Briggs personality type taxonomy. ESTP stands for extroversion, sensitive, thinking, and perception. And like ESTPs, Aries live in the here and now and are eager to tackle new challenges that come their way. They're very action-oriented and tend to become bored quickly. What's more, people born under this personality category show the flexibility and problem-solving nature of the more reserved ISTP. In fact, both ESTPs and ISTPs share with Aries an inclination and enthusiasm for learning new things through hands-on experience. In the aforementioned DISC system that I mentioned, which stands once again for dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness, your personality type would fall under the D umbrella for dominant personalities. DISC is different from astrology insofar as it assesses external behavior and communication styles, whereas astrology is more kind of comprehensive. It's both internal and external. But your reading for this month, based on your personality type, your ethics reading, is going to be based on these cards, which are my little ethics cards. And I'm going to shuffle these, and we're going to let the universe give us some idea of what it has in store for you over the next month. And I'm going to do 3 cards. And we're going to read the quotes from famous philosophers for these 3 cards to see if it might give an insight into what the universe has in store for you. And it says, quote number 1 is, "We will not bargain with them ever to take in exchange all of their wealth for our virtue, since virtue is ever abiding. Riches are held for a time here and there among men." Solon, the Great of Athens. So I'll read that again. "We will not bargain with them ever to take in exchange for all their wealth for our virtue, since virtue is ever abiding. Riches are held for a time here and there among men." Right? So that's the first quote. The second one is, "Civilization depends on morality," and that's Ralph Waldo Emerson. And the third quote is, "Not being able to govern events, I govern myself." And that's the French philosopher Montaigne, right? "Not being able to govern events, I govern myself." And what this is in relation to, these 3 quotes about civilization depending on morality, not being able to govern events, I govern myself, and we will not trade our virtue for riches, basically, are the 3 things. And these 3 things are essentially a reference from the universe, if I can kind of translate them for you, regarding your career and how you basically become a self-starter, which is natural for Aries. You guys are entrepreneurial, and around the 11th, if you believe astrology, if you think that has any merit, around the 11th of the upcoming month of July, you guys are going to have like a focus. There's going to be a focus around the 3rd on career, as an example, and then toward the 11th, it kind of goes toward health and other matters like that. But regarding your career, you have to be a self-starter. You have to not rely on what the external circumstances are of any given thing. Like in Stoic philosophy, Epictetus says that we cannot control the circumstances around us. We can only control our reactions to those circumstances. And that's basically what ethics is. Ethics is the idea that you can't control others, but you can control yourself, right? It's self-control, it's personal development, and from this you can, kind of tap your inner resources, and from there you're self-motivated, you're a self-starter, and you might do entrepreneurial things based on those own internal resources that you have, and it says, we will not bargain with them ever to take in exchange all their wealth for our virtue, right? So just remember that. And civilization depends on morality. So that's another thing as well to keep in mind. These are three great quotes. You can't run a business, for instance, if, everybody steals, if everybody robs, if everybody kills. And that's what the philosopher Immanuel Kant talks about. He says that he has something called the categorical imperative. And the categorical imperative basically is a rule for yourself, an injunction, an imperative based on if everyone did it, how would the world work, right? So if everyone lied, how would society operate? How would things, be maintained? If everybody killed, how would, what effect would that have on society? And so you have to lead your life kind of based on those, kind of ideals of, you have to have structure, you have to have order. Without these supply chains break down, if we had, people hijacking trucks and stuff, you couldn't get your entrepreneurial ventures to market and everything like that. Let me see. I'm going to look into another aspect, and that is someone from the past. So we are going to look into the cards, and it's going to be related to someone from your past. And we're going to shuffle these cards, and we're going to see, we're going to draw three cards out and see what it says there. And these three. The first card says, and it's funny too, look, health. And I said after the 11th, health will be, in the focus, during your month of July. Health consists with temperance alone. And that's Alexander Pope, the English poet. Health consists with temperance alone. So that means don't overeat, don't engage in gluttony, because that would not be ethics. That would not be virtue. The other one is Cicero. Ethics is the art of living well. I love that quote. Ethics is the art of living well. People forget that that's what ethics is. They think ethics is moralizing or telling other people what to do, being a scold. That is not what it actually is. It's actually, as I said, personal development. It's you controlling yourself, not controlling others. And just like self-control with health, temperance, right, is self-control, and it's putting the emphasis on that. And here's the third one. And the third quote is, the most courageous act is still to think for yourself. And that's Coco Chanel. The most courageous act is still to think for yourself. And so these three kind of quotes kind of in constellation with each other. Let's repeat that. Health consists with temperance alone. Ethics is the art of living well, right? And the last one is the most courageous act is still to think for yourself. And once again, this roots back to the nature of ethics. What is ethics? It's being self-determined, self-guided, not being guided by vices, but being guided by, your internal, aptitudes, your internal dialogue, like what you want for yourself, your goals. And, so look for those themes in the upcoming month. Entrepreneurialism, how you can draw forth from yourself your inner reserves and talents to make something happen. So the aspects are there for that, and also the note on health. So someone from your past might be coming, to you and kind of reminding you of the importance of your health. And unfortunately, maybe somebody who's sick or ill or not doing well, and that might kind of spur you to think, hey, I've got control of my own life. Just on a random note, John Stuart Mill talked about that. He said, in Considerations on Representative Government, what is the difference between an active population and a passive population? And he says republics require active populations, people who do jury duty, people who vote, people who serve in government. He says in a tyranny, they kind of cultivate passive populations. And he gives us an example of an active person. He says an active person, when they see something wrong with themselves, they fix it. They don't make excuses. When a passive person, however, when they see something wrong with themselves, they'll blame someone else. they'll say, my life isn't going well because, the system is against me, or my race or my religion or my gender, and the world is against, this is a passive person. This is someone who's given up their own power. You as a personality type under the D for disc and Aries, and ESTP, you are not that type of person. You're very active, and that will stand you in good stead this month. And I'll see you next time. And remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you want extra personal ethics coaching for an issue that you might have, you can set up a Zoom call with me by pressing the button below. Pick what calendar date you want and what time, and we can hash over whatever thorny moral dilemma you're facing. Also, check out my Ethics Fundamentals course. The links are below, and I'll catch you next time.
The world is suffering from a moral decline. We've been lurching from one crisis after another due to a lack of ethics in society. You can do your part now by considering ordering my Ethics Fundamentals courses for your children, or if you're a small business owner, using them as part of your onboarding process for new employees. Employees these days have horrible soft skills. Help them out by teaching them ethics. Businesses lose 7% in revenue due to employee theft. Train a more ethical workforce and save some of that money. According to the Ethics Center in Australia, a 10% increase in ethical behavior is associated with an increase of 2.7 to 6.6% in individual wages. Implementing ethical structures makes your company more investable as well. Make ethics a part of your business processes, or if you're a parent, part of your homeschooling curriculum. Go to www.actionableethics.com and press the button to order the course. Actionableethics.com. Order now.